Right, we'll call this meeting of the Madera County Transportation Commission Policy Board to order. You are going to take roll call, but before we do, I wanted to make sure that we recognize that we have two of our board members that are participating remotely in the Just Cause provision. So with that, I'd like to see if this board would accept that. We do have a
Do we need
approval.
Okay, I move to approve. Second.
Okay, we do have a first and a second to approve the additional remote participations from both Commissioner Ahmed and Commissioner Poitras for the Just Cause. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We do have to take that remotely, or are we good here? Because we do have the majority of the quorum. Okay,
We will have to take roll call votes for everything else.
correct. Everything else will be roll call. Well, thank you again. Appreciate that, Sandy. Now we'll go ahead and call to order. Can you please take the roll?
Commissioner Zachariah,
Here.
Chair Rodriguez,
Here.
Commissioner McCauley,
Here.
Commissioner Rogers,
Here.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Here.
Commissioner Poitras.
Yes.
With that, I'll now ask you to please rise, and I'll ask Commissioner, please lead us on the pledge.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now that we've got that in order, we'll move on to the public comment. This time is made available for comments from the public on matters within the board's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Attention is called to the fact that the board is prohibited by law from taking any substantive action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. And no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the board does not respond to public comment at this time. It is requested that no comments be made during this period on items that are on today's agenda. Members of the public may comment on any item that is on today's agenda when the item is called and should notify the chairperson of their desire to address the board when that item is called. At this time, I'll open it up to public comment. Do we have anyone from our audience or our Zoom? Okay, no one here from the audience. Okay, we'll close public comment, move on to MCTC sitting as a Transportation Policy Committee. The transportation consent items.
Move to approve.
Okay, I'll read this real quick and then we can do that. And moving forward, we'll go ahead and go through that as well. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial by MCTC staff and will be approved by one motion if no member of the committee or public wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered in the listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the committee concerning the item before action is taken. At this time, I'll ask if there's any items from this consent that need to be removed for public, for separate discussion. No public comment. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We did have a motion from Commissioner Rogers.
A second.
Second from Commissioner Zachariah. All those in favor? Well, we'll go ahead and let's do our roll call.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachariah,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Chair Rodriguez.
Yes.
Your motion carries.
All right, we'll move on to item 5, transportation action discussion items. Item 5A, public hearing 2026-27 unmet transit needs. And I believe, Natalia, you have that? All right.
Okay, thank you. Before we get started, we'd like to allow our online interpreter, Alejandra, explain how to access the Spanish channel on Zoom for those who might be participating online.
Buenas tardes. Se ofrecerá interpretación en español. Para escuchar el programa en español, seleccione el icono de globo terráqueo en la parte inferior de su pantalla que dice Interpretation. Luego seleccione su idioma Spanish, español, y de ahí podrá escuchar todo el programa en español. Gracias. Thank you.
Okay, Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Before we begin the public hearing, we're going to briefly discuss the purpose of this hearing and also the opportunities that have been made available for public participation in addressing unmet transit needs. And then finally, we'll explain how individuals can participate in the public hearing today. So some of this information may seem familiar to you as we just had our unmet transit needs process in the spring, but we're having it again in the fall, this fall. And for those of you who are new, this is important background information about the basis for why we have these public hearings. So in order to understand the purpose of this public hearing, we need to trace back to where the unmet transit needs process began. And that's with the Transportation Development Act. The Transportation Development Act was enacted in 1971, and it was to provide funding to achieve two main objectives. The first was to improve public transit, and the second was to encourage collaboration on regional transit issues. So as you can see there on the slide, the TDA provides two funding sources. One is the Local Transportation Fund, which is derived from 1/4 cent of the general sales tax collected statewide. And the second is the State Transit Assistance Fund, which comes from the statewide sales tax on diesel fuel. So MCTC's responsibility as a regional transportation planning agency is to disperse those funds to the transit agencies. And then also our responsibility is to make sure that we conduct this unmet transit needs process. So in line with the intent of the funding, then the transit agencies will use these funds to improve their transit systems. However, because Madera County has a population of under 500,000, they can also use these funds for non-transit purposes, such as for street and road maintenance. A key component of the Transportation Development Act is public participation. So regional planning agencies like MCTC are required to form a Social Services Transportation Advisory Council to discuss transportation needs and also to hear the concerns of transit-dependent and disadvantaged persons. So the council is made up of transit riders, it's made up of persons with disabilities, social service representatives, older adults, and also representatives from local transit agencies. One of the main functions of that SSTAC is to evaluate public transit requests to determine if they are unmet transit needs, and if so, are those reasonable to meet? So annually, the SSTAC will make a recommendation to this board regarding unmet transit service needs. And after all reasonable needs have been met through the expansion of existing transit services or by the creation of new transit systems, then MCTC can release those funds for non-transit uses like street and road repair. So establishing an SSTAC and then inviting the public to comment is a mandatory part of this process, and it's a condition to receiving the TDA funds. The law requires that annually there be at least one public hearing to receive public input, which is why we're here today. So even though the law requires us to hold just one public hearing each year, we always go beyond that. We want to make it as easy as possible for residents to share their comments in the way that works best for them. So people can provide input by mail, email, comment forms, or even through our online survey. And this fall, instead of repeating workshops again, we took a different approach. We met people where they are. So we went out to several community events to talk directly with residents about the unmet transit needs process and to make sure that they had the chance to share their concerns and their thoughts with us in a way that felt natural and accessible. So here's a timeline of the unmet transit needs process for this year. We kicked it off in August. And as you can see on the timeline, August through October is when we were attending the community events. And October 22nd, obviously here we are today at the public hearing. On December 9th is when the SSTAC will review all the comments that we've received and will make a recommendation to the MCTC Policy Board if any unmet transit needs were identified and if they're reasonable to meet. And then this policy board will make the final decision on unmet transit needs at the January Policy Board on January 21st. Then if there were any unmet transit needs that were identified as reasonable to meet, then that's when the transit agency can start working on solutions for those. So if you are here today to participate in the public hearing, we really look forward to your comments. When it's your turn to speak, just please introduce yourself, state your name and the city or community of residence for the record. You'll have about 3 minutes to speak, but try to be as detailed as you can so that the SSTAC and the policy board can really understand the concerns that you're trying to address. If you are online, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom to be recognized to speak. If you're participating by phone only, then please press *9 to be recognized to speak. And with that, I'll turn the hearing back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Natalia. And as you said, this is a public hearing, so I will open this up to the public. Any members of the public or any members on Zoom? I'll have you stay there for a minute. I just want to open it up to the public before I bring you back here to my board. And do we have any comments from anyone on Commissioner Ahmad, Commissioner Poitras, or this commission?
Yeah, just a couple questions, if I may, Chair. I'm just curious, when we talk about regional planning, are we looking at like primarily Eastern County to Western County? Are we looking at like mountain communities of Oakhurst and Mariposa? Are we looking at, say the city of Madera to Fresno, where people are often, using public transportation as a means to get to work or perhaps to court? Like, what are we looking at from a regional approach? Can you just help me better understand?
Well, I could start, and then if any of MCTC staff would like to chime in, that would be good. I think when we're thinking about regional, I think it would be kind of the same idea or the same approach that we use for our regional transportation plan. So whenever there's projects in that plan, they're of regional significance. That means, they span across jurisdictional boundaries and affect many within the county. As far as going beyond our county borders, sometimes that is considered regional as well. But for the most part, with this process, we're looking at within this county.
Okay, thank you for that. And then I'm curious to know, I know we're still kind of in the comment period. We're doing a public hearing today, obviously, but have we begun to, I guess, catalog our comments that we've received through our public outreach? And can the team give us kind of a sense of how many comments we've received, as well as, some of the themes perhaps within those comments that we're receiving?
Well, yes, we get them. So our online survey so far, we've received about 5 comments. I'm trying to think of, we've received some things that were kind of just spoken more casually. And so we've been documenting those. We have the hearing today. So more or less, when we start really compiling them all is after this hearing. And then they have some more time. They have through November 7th, I believe, to continue providing comments. And so, yes, we have all of those documented so far, and we can let you take a look at some of them if you'd like, if you're interested beforehand.
Sure. Yeah, I'm always curious to know, what the residents and constituents in the area. But from my perspective, I do get a lot of comments around needs for regional transportation between the community of Oakhurst and Mariposa. Those communities often go back and forth, and folks in Mariposa, have needs that are met in Oakhurst and vice versa, whether it's getting up to the DMV or Mariposa, what have you. Also heard from residents, within these city limits about the need to, get down the 99 corridor up to Fresno for work purposes and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to make that known and make those comments while I have the opportunity. So thank you.
I just want to add, at some of these events we go to, even though we may not have like They didn't fill out a survey per se. We've had, 50 to 100 different, 50 up to 100 conversations with folks explaining about what this process is, explaining, how they can contribute. Sometimes they make casual comments, but sometimes we come across folks, for example, when we were at the Oakhurst Fall Festival, we spoke to a gentleman, and I don't recall his name, but he works with the Oakhurst Adult School. And he was able to have a great conversation with us and primarily with Mr. Cox from from the county transit department. How can the county provide transit to those folks? Because that's one of their barriers. And so, we're appreciative of those type of comments that could actually have some meaningful change or meaningful services that could provide help to the folks that are going to the adult school. He said the number one barrier, the number one issue that they have is transportation. And so that's something that we are very glad we got that comment, but also, Mr. Cox was there to provide that conversation. And so that's just kind of an example of some of the things that we're hearing and some of the efforts that we made.
And certainly understand that systems in place aren't necessarily always the barrier. Sometimes education around what is available is a huge obstacle, helping people understand that, hey, we can and do have transportation available down to, say the community college from Oakhurst. That's a hard thing for people to, tangibly get together sometimes, but the information is out there and promoting it obviously helps. So thank you for the clarification. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Natalia, I wanted to thank you also and the staff for making their efforts in reaching out to people. I know in the past we've heard of communities such as Fairmead and Lavina also having certain needs, but not necessarily constituting what an unmet need is or transit need is, but nevertheless, trips obviously for them. But it's good that you guys are hearing from what the constituents or the community members are saying, because if it does meet the unmet transit need, then you would bring that back. At that point, then it would be directed to whichever jurisdiction it applies to, right? Whether it's Chowchilla, the city, and or the county. But I do appreciate the fact that you guys are out there being proactive and trying to make sure that you're spreading the word on how these needs are met. So thank you.
Thank you.
With that, do we have any other comments?
I have no hands raised online.
Okay. Well, again, this is a public hearing. We did open it up, and at this time, thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll look forward to the following comments when they come back here again. All right. So moving on to item 5B, Calvan's update.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Poitras is the chair of Calvan and has requested that we include this on our agenda today, just to provide some feedback on any kind of initiatives or what's been going on with Calvans over the past year, or if there's any additional information, input that he could provide related to what Calvans is. And maybe even for those who do not know what Calvans is, Supervisor Poitras can explain to you from his perspective and some of the changes that are being made at Calvans.
Yes, thank you. Supervisor Poitras, if you will. There was a comment that was made by Supervisor McCauley, but this would probably be a good segue for Supervisor Poitras to add on the value of what the van pool or Calvans does, and maybe have some type of transportation that can happen from Mariposa to Oakhurst. But go right ahead, Commissioner Poitras.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and all those in attendance, my fellow commissioners and MCTC staff. I'd like to just bring you up to, okay, the host has said, start your video. It's not, is my video working?
Yes.
Okay, it said the host asked me to start my video, and I'm thinking, well, I see it, so it's working. Okay, good. All right, don't fool me like that. Okay, so Calvans, California Van Pool Authority, has been around since roughly 2012. The initial, I'm not sure if he's the initial guy, but a guy who really got things going is a guy named Ron Hughes. It was centered in Kings County, and transportation people really provided a lot of assistance, a lot of capital input, along with other um, uh, jurisdictions and MPOs as Calvans got going and established their pools. Calvans um, primarily is for van pools, going from your place of residence to your place of work. It's really not a what you would call a traditional transit type of vehicle. So it wouldn't be something where somebody in Oakhurst would uh, take Calvans to go see their doctor in Mariposa or vice versa. It would be something where a group of people in Oakhurst would ride in the van to work if there was a big group of them in Oakhurst who would be driving to Mariposa to work and then go back in the van. So that's kind of more what the purpose of Calvans is. So they started out with van pools for farm workers in addition to general van pools. General van pools would be more uh, where there'd be a group of people driving to a something like Lemoore Able Air Station from Fresno, or driving from a spot in Fresno to another one employer location, say in Tulare County. So, and then on a farm worker deal, it would be you have a driver who's been checked out by Calvans, and with all the safety material, he would take a group of farm workers to a specific location to work all day and then ride back. And the fares are covered either by the riders or the actual farmers. So there's a lot of farming operations who actually pay the bill for the use of the Calvans vans. So so through the years, Calvans grew. In roughly 2018, Ron Hughes left Calvans or retired from Calvans, and a gal named Georgina Lancheco took over as executive director. At that time, prior to her taking over, there was a number of contracts that were signed with housing authority uh, agencies and for various projects, roughly 16 or 17, where um, they needed a transit operator as part of their application. So they worked with Calvans to for the check mark to say, oh, we have a transit operator to help us out to check the mark so we qualify for our housing authority operation and construction. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, Calvans is not a transit agency and it doesn't function that way. So some of these housing projects are now starting to come to fruition, and they're finding the hard way that no, it's really not what Calvans is all about. So they're going to have to be looking for other avenues. So Calvans moves into the 2020s. Of course, we had a pretty big hit with COVID, even though there really wasn't a drop in farm workers. Uh, and then moving into 2024 and 2025, we started having a drop in the number of general van pools that pulled in pretty good money, as well as a ridership in the ag world. It was across the board. It was in Imperial County and um, in Monterey County in the Central Valley, where ridership just again it dropped off tremendously. We had increased our fares, which we had not increased in 5 years or so, and so we needed to do that. But according to various farm farms and operations, that really wasn't so much the case. It seems, and again, we're not quite sure if it was maybe the immigration thing. Some of the ridership has started to come back, but we're still not doing very well as an agency. So What we've done to mitigate that is we've hired a consultant to assist our executive director in operating Calvans. Um, uh, Unfortunately, our executive director, she's tries to really do everything herself without, I think, proper staffing. And so what Sid's been able to do is to move in, Sid Nag, who's the consultant, move in and take on some of those roles to dig down, find some of the skeletons in the closet, discover things that the board wasn't aware of. And he's really, really been helpful. Also, we've started to cut uh, employment costs, through whatever means necessary. We would let go some temporary employees. We furlough others, but we're starting to cut back on expenses. Again, I mentioned ridership is picking up a little bit. We're looking for more general van pools. We are also recipients last year of $15 million from Prop 4, at least approved for $15 million to utilize for capital purchases. But we have not seen any of that money yet. In fact, I don't think any of the money in that entire Prop 4 has been dispersed. But we're looking to get some money dispersed next year, again, for certain capital costs. We're looking to rid ourselves of certain properties where the rents are pretty high, where we keep some of our vans and consolidate the vans in some other areas. We have some pretty high overhead there, and also selling off the excess fleet. So again, the good news is that we have now finally started to identify some of these issues. We're able to kind of get our arms around them. And, I think the future looks a lot brighter for Calvans than it did several months ago. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more I could say, but I'll open it up for questions at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Poitras. At this time, this is information, so I'll ask if there's any member commissioner that has a question or comment for Supervisor Poitras.
Just a comment, Rob, when Sid's done with Calvans, maybe send him over to Yarts.
I think it's going to be a long time before he's done with Calvans, and I wish could be done quickly, but I'll do that. I promise to do that.
So, Commissioner Poitras, because Calvans is designed to help with not only work or school, Commissioner McCauley had made a point earlier as far as getting down to the community college. But in essence, one could participate in possibly taking a pool of people, whether it's work or school, and then being a designated driver, manager slash volunteer. I'm not sure how that operates, but you would just review the cost and make sure that it's effective, efficient in a way for you to utilize that.
Right. What would happen is we charge a per mile fee, and so number one, the van pool or the van would have to pay. The occupants would have to cover the cost of the mileage for the van from that location to its destination and back. So they'd have to figure that out. We also like to see some regular use. It's something we can't afford to, kick out a van for a few months a year. It has to probably be utilized 8 to 9 months out of the year. So that would be a factor. But those are just a couple of the parameters. I mean, and anything that is a general van pool. For instance, a group of people from Oakhurst who work in Fresno. Uh, Now, it would probably not work if once they get to Fresno, there's 8 riders and 8 of them work all over Fresno. But if they work in close proximity, then that might work. And then everybody assembles and they get rides back to Oakhurst. But that would be it. It would be a per mile charge, and we'd like to see some usage because these vans cost quite a bit.
Mr. Chair, an example in Madera is the prison workers utilize cow vans to get to work. And so they may be coming from Fresno and going to the prison in Chowchilla and then.
That's good, that example, because in a case where, let's just say Amazon distribution center or some other big,
Yeah, right.
not retailer, but tech, but you have a pool of people that are up in Oker/Mariposa, or within the Calvan's territories, and I think you can utilize that in a way that, it takes vehicles off the road. You have a pool and a shared cost, so it may make sense. Yeah, right.
I appreciate the information. My supervisor, my notes are actually to connect you with some of our hospitality folks up there. I think the hotels would very much appreciate the opportunity. I think some of them are actually already doing it in-house, where they're, bringing people up the hill from Fresno to work in the hotels because there's not really any place for them to live up there. So I think it'd be something that'd be most interested in, but I'll connect with you offline and make those connections, and hopefully something works out. So appreciate the presentation.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
I had always wondered about Chansey, because I know that they talked about it in the past, in-house. So it's like a rideshare service in-house. Their HR would form some sort of matching system to match their employees up with riders. But this is another option for them.
Right. And it could be, rather than have 8 to 10 people in Fresno drive up the hill to Chansey to work, to Trisha's point, they could all assemble and, right up in a van that's safe, that's fairly new, and have a driver who's been checked out, and it could end up being a lot less expensive because they would share the costs.
Thank you. We do have a question from.
We have a hand raised online.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do see, Lorena, you have your hand raised. If you'd please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question or comment.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lorena Mendivas, and I work for Caltrans. I have had several meetings with, I think, Natalia there regarding, I'm sorry, something's clicking here, VMT mitigation on State Route 99 and the district transit plan that we're coordinating here at Caltrans. And piggybacking on Mr. Robert Pythras' comment, I do want to say that we are working with Georgina Landechu on a possible Calvans project for the North Madera State Route 99 6-lane project. And so that's something that we hope that we can find somehow, maybe transit to the casino or to the college. I did have a meeting with Chachansey last week, and they were interested in something like this. And maybe just, we just need a little more communication in regards to maybe working with Chachansey and, identifying maybe if they can utilize additional Calvans. Maybe I'm sure they probably have something like that already, but I just wanted to share that us here at Caltrans, we're also working with Georgina as well.
Well, that's really good. I'm glad to hear that. And I would say, and Bobby, I appreciate your willingness to get to talk to Chachansey and have them you can contact me, and I can have you get in contact with Georgina and or Sid, and that would really be good. So perfect. And I know something I didn't mention is that there are several MPOs that are utilizing Caltrans for multimodal mitigation to help them meet certain goals for qualifying for funding.
Thank you.
That's correct.
Thank you for your comments, Lorna. Do we have anyone from the public wishing to make a comment? Anyone else on Zoom?
City online.
Anyone else online?
No one else online.
Good. So with that, again, thank you again for that update, Commissioner Poitras. Really informative. Thank you for breaking that down for us. I think it's always good to find out, again, how you serve and the agency that you serve and explain how it works. So I appreciate that thorough, detailed explanation.
Very good. Anytime. Thank you.
All right, so with that, we'll move on now to item 5C. It's here somewhere. Thank you.
Sir.
This is the State Route 145 corridor plan. Final.
Friends, our partners at District 6 have completed the plan for facilities within our county. The 145 corridor plan has been worked on for a few years. I think I was contacted in maybe 2023. to work with them to get on them. We're happy. Alec Kimmel is here again, the branch chief from System Planning District 6. He was here to talk about the 233 plan in our prior meeting. So he's able to join us again today and give us some information about the State Route 145 plan. So we've got some slides.
That introduction, Dylan, and thank you to staff and to all the council members and chair. As mentioned, I'm the branch chief in Caltrans District 6 for the system planning branch, and it is our primary function to develop the long range sort of vision documents for the state routes within our district in partnership with this agency and others. So just to give a little bit of context, I'm going to test out the clicker here, see if that works. There we go.
It's just a little slow.
So just to give a little bit of context, a corridor can be defined as a linear geographic area with one or more modes of transportation facilitating the movement of people and goods, supporting the economy and connecting communities. Corridor planning approach relies on collaboration between the Caltrans districts and their regional partners to identify and address opportunities on the key transportation corridors, culminating in a clear and shared vision for identified improvements while recognizing different impacts of changes over time. So the corridor plan would analyze how a corridor is performing and estimates for the future why it performs that way and recommends projects and strategies to achieve corridor goals and objectives. And just here on the slide, we do have a standard process that we follow for updating our vision documents. The prior vision documents from an earlier time and sort of earlier policy context we referred to as the transportation and concept reports. Those documents were really more focused on the facility itself, but we've kind of expanded our vision to include more sort of a multimodal lens looking at all modes and parallel facilities on the corridor, as well as engaging our partners and hopefully the community more. The graphic is a little bit busy. It's showing that for some of our documents, we condense this process a little bit depending upon the rigor and the robustness of the analysis. So this is maybe for State Route 145, more sort of a lower tier document. See, for example, on State Route 99, which is a major interregional goods movement corridor. Sorry, still getting the hang of this clicker. So focusing specifically on State Route 145, it runs for just over 25 miles, existing solely within our Caltrans District 6. Though primarily it's an agricultural corridor that serves farming communities, it also serves as a commuter route along more urban portions and connects the western San Joaquin Valley to recreational areas in the northeast, such as Millerton Lake or Yosemite National Park. Through Fresno County, it traverses both Fresno County and Madera County. It exists mainly as a two-lane conventional highway, which begins more rural in nature with the terrain gradually flattening from rolling hills as the highway will cross the California Aqueduct and approach the intersection with State Route 269. Continuing north from that intersection, it passes through the unincorporated communities of Five Points and Helm before reaching the city of Kerman. Through the city of Kerman, the highway is a 4-lane facility with left turn pockets and signalized intersections. Through the city of Kerman, it's known locally as South Madera Avenue and is developed on each side and ultimately connects to State Route 180 on the northern end. A notable feature along South Madera Avenue is Plaza Veterans Park, which you see here in the photo on the right. It's a 3.3 acre park that's in the median between A and C streets. I'm pretty sure that's a fairly unique feature in our state route system. From State Route 180 in Kerman, State Route 145 becomes a 2-lane facility once more and traverses north, crossing the San Joaquin River as it enters Madera County from Fresno County, passes through the community of Ripperdan, and north of Avenue 7, it gradually becomes more and more urban of a context until it reaches Avenue 12 and the limits of the city of Madera. Known locally again as South Madera Avenue south of 99, it turns to run on a diagonal north of Highway 99 and aligns with the local street network. And for approximately a half mile, it runs northwest, known as South Gateway Drive, before turning northeast as East Yosemite Avenue to the eastern limits past Tozer. It was it continues to be part of the city of Madera's Vision 2025 to create a walkable and bike and pedestrian friendly community within the city of Madera. So that portion that's running to Tozer Drive, which is East Yosemite Avenue locally, is serving as the city of Madera's main street. The flat topography and the small area of this portion of the route create ideal conditions for biking and walking. And so to help realize the city's vision, in collaboration with MCTC and the city of Madera, Caltrans District 6 initiated complete streets improvements on this segment, such as construction of sidewalks, bulb outs, roundabouts, and a road diet along East Yosemite Avenue. In February of 2022, I believe the Madera City Council voted unanimously to move forward with these efforts. And the project has since received statewide recognition. Recently, it was highlighted during a tour by the California Transportation Commission chair and the District 6, the Caltrans District 6 director. Through the length of State Route 145, the corridor context includes various historic and potentially historic resources, especially through the city of Madera. It's also currently a Surface Transportation Assistance Act truck route, and Caltrans is committed beyond the publication of this corridor plan to continuing discussions with MCTC and partner agencies on the challenges or constraints presented by these and other considerations. So the projects on State Route 145 that Caltrans is currently working on and that are documented within the final corridor plan include the Fresno Bypass Bridge Rails, the Madera Avenue Capital Preventative Maintenance project, which is also the project that includes some of those complete streets improvements. I believe the downtown Madera CAPM is the main one. The Avenue 12 to Avenue 12 and a half to 13 and a half, adding an additional lane on either side per the 2022 MCTC RTB project listing. And then again, from State Route 99 to Yosemite Avenue. And finally, a project to install a water main and construct street improvements for a new development. The environmental phase for this project completed in June of 2025. Many of these projects are either shop funded or have shop components. The key feature documented in the corridor plan, or one of the main focuses is, as I mentioned, that complete streets project, and it's actually several projects, but again, the main is the downtown Madera Cap M that was recently highlighted during the recent CTC hearing. It also includes intelligent transportation system elements, such as detection cameras at all 10 of the signalized intersections throughout the projects, existing traffic signal and loop detectors, traffic in-count pavement detectors, and rumble strips north of Tozer and Cleveland Avenue, replaced after the grind and overlay is completed. Includes drainage improvements such as culverts and dry wells to be removed at A and B streets, drainage improvements made at the 99 northbound off-ramp, inlets and culverts to be replaced at Clemenson Avenue, DeSanti, 9th Street, G Street, and under sidewalk drain at 8th Street. And then additional drainage improvements at High or Tozer Street and Cleveland Avenue. Now the fun part. So the complete streets improvements. You'll see here some cross sections that we've included in the corridor plan to illustrate some of these improvements. We'll include aesthetic upgrades as well. In addition to a road diet, reducing the existing roadway from 4 to 2 lanes with a 2-way left turn lane and dedicated left turn lane between East Street and Fig Street. That would reduce the number of pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicle conflict points and make room for an additional Class 2 bike lanes and parallel parking stalls. There are 3 roundabouts that will replace the existing Route 145 intersections at CD and Lake Streets. These roundabouts are expected to improve traffic flow and offset the reduction of lanes from the road diet. I mentioned bulb outs earlier to help with those pedestrian crossings at E, A, and B streets, and transit stops as well. Earlier, there I showed a photo of the Madera Transit Station. It's worth mentioning that there are 3 different transit providers within the city of Madera, operating within the city of Madera. And there's also a plan to help augment that service as well. And that is included as a consideration within the plan, and looking at increasing transit use through the enhancement of the existing system, in addition to a potential bus rapid transit system. And then finally, raised medians extending from E Street to Lake Street, sidewalk improvements, and landscaping, which would include center islands, drought-tolerant trees, shrubs, and ground cover, and support for the additional landscaping with irrigation and lighting improvements made throughout the downtown area. So with that, I'll take any questions, and just want to mention that the plan is available both in digital form or as hard copy by request. And we are grateful to the agency here, Madera County Transportation Commission, and all of your member agencies and the partners who helped with the development of this plan.
Thank you, Alec. Appreciate that presentation. At this time, I'll bring it back to my commission if there's any comments, questions.
You guys breaking bread?
It's a good question. Early spring of 2026 is what I understood. I'm not sure if that's changed, but we'll go ahead and get an update from you, right?
I think that that's fairly accurate. I do know that we're going to be delaying construction by a couple months to coordinate with the city for, I believe it's a water line. installation.
Yes.
So there's going to be a little bit of delay. So we want to come in after the city's done with their project.
Take that up today.
Yeah.
So with that, do we have any comments? Yes.
I wanted to say that Madera is very fortunate to have a leader like Jose Rodriguez, who has spearheaded this project from the beginning. When it comes to fruition, they ought to call it Jose Rodriguez Boulevard. Honestly, because it would not be happening without him. He has put his full energy into that, and as far back as I can remember you talking about that. And this has got to be an exciting moment for you because you're seeing the fruit of your labor come to fruition. So I'm very pleased to make that kind of a statement because I know he would never make that about himself, but it is true, and you're worthy of that. Thank you.
Thank you again, Commissioner Rogers. I appreciate those compliments and comments. Do we have any other comments from anyone in our Zoom? Commissioner Poitras, Commissioner Ahmed.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
If not, then I'll go ahead. I'll finish off with some comments. Thank you, Alec, again, and thank you for those comments. I will tell you that I'm not alone in this. A lot of this had to do again with our city council. They believed in it. Stakeholder engagement. When Mark Thomas gave us that report that we were able to get a grant for, I think that really sparked up a lot of enthusiasm amongst our stakeholders of what they wanted to see. Now, back then, granted, this was a 4-lane project that now was condensed into a road diet. We weren't too crazy about a diet. Nobody wants a diet, but nevertheless, it actually, it kind of really worked out with our plan downtown because, like you said, a lot of the aesthetic, some of the project is going to have these aesthetic appeals of certain things are going to be added additions to that, and the city's investment into that as well. We wanted to see this go forward. So thank you. Yeah, this is something that I can't say that I did on my own. Former council member, Will Oliver, had also provided a lot of feedback into that and made sure that we didn't kill that project or kill that specific project that we had with Mark Thomas, that we were able to reintroduce again to Caltrans, and they infused that in there, which was great because a lot of that is stakeholder input. So I know that's just a section of Madera, but I also want to thank you for providing a good detailed explanation as how 145 is such a big connector to a lot of our communities, whether it's Kerman, you have a Madera, and it goes on to 99, goes on to east into Yosemite, and I'm assuming that it gets into your territory out there as well, right? But yes.
Mr. Chair, if I can just add one other element to having a corridor plan, thank you, Caltrans, for finalizing it and preparing it, is it assists in getting grant funding as well. So you can use these plans and include them in your grant applications or refer back to them, or at least look for data or information in the plan.
Great. Thank you, Director Taylor. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, just a quick question, and not to take away from the existing effort and immediately move on to the next thing, but I will. Is there an existing 41 corridor plan, or does Caltrans have plans to do a 41 corridor plan?
We do have plans, and I'm going to go ahead and defer to Alec to answer that question because corridor plans are produced in his branch.
We identified 41 as a priority for us to update. It's I think the last update, which was the old kind of document, the transportation concept report, dates back to 2017 now. So we're definitely due, and I already have staff preparing research and looking forward to kicking that effort off with yourselves and with other partners later in the same fiscal year.
Perfect. Well, I think the community of Oakers could learn a lot from what's been going on in the city of Madera. Obviously, we have our mobility study going on up there right now, and so I think the time is right to take a real hard look at what's going on there. So I appreciate the efforts from Caltrans. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And again, Supervisor Commissioner Rogers, I appreciate the if you want to submit that in writing to Caltrans to name it.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chair, if I may add, I don't recall why this was brought up, but State Route 41, probably some sort of grant funding opportunity. And maybe hearing about the 145 being finalized. and the CMCP on State Route 99. Questions were asked about State Route 41. So we've had email exchanges, exactly what Alec presented to you in terms of we're in the early stages of, that's in their high priority of kicking off. It might have been my email exchanges with you, as a matter of fact, I'm not sure who with, but we've had some conversations about getting ready to do the State Route 41.
Thank you. Yeah, I really look forward to the dialogue. Thank you.
All right, so with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. Do we have anyone from the public wishing to make a comment?
Seeing none online.
Okay, we have none here either, so we'll close public comment. And this was just a discussion item, so we'll go ahead and close that and bring up the next item, which is MCTC sitting as a Madera County. Alec, thank you again.
Thank you.
MCTC sitting as the Madera County Transportation Commission. Item 6, reaffirm all action taken while sitting as the Transportation Policy Committee.
So move.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion from Supervisor Rogers, Commissioner Rogers, second from Commissioner McCauley. Before we take that motion, I'll ask if there's any member of the public wishing to make a comment.
Seeing none online.
Okay. All those in favor, you'll go ahead and take a roll call.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachariah,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras,
You're muted.
Okay, yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Great. All right. So moving on to item 7, administrative consent items. I did read the consent earlier, so now
Yeah.
Move to approve. I'll open it up to see if there's any items that want to be discussed separately. If not, then I'll open it to public comment.
Seeing none online.
Okay, seeing none, we'll close that, bring that back. There is a motion from second Commissioner Rogers, second from Commissioner McCauley. Take roll, please.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachariah,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yeah. Sign language.
Unmute. Thank you. What happens, I'm on my phone, and if I go to tap to speak, then my video stops. So it's like, and then I hear I can't vote if you can't see my video. So it's, but thank you for helping me unmute. That's good. Thank you.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
So I'm sorry, Commissioner Poitras, was that a yes or a no?
I think he abstained.
That was
I'm gonna do it again.
It's frozen.
I read his lips. He said yes.
yes.
I heard him that time.
Moving on to item 8, administrative action discussion items. Item 8A, fiscal year 25-26 overall work program and budget amendment number 2. Mr.
Yes,
McNeil.
good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This item is to approve amendment number 2 to the overall work program and budget. The budget is increasing by $65,092. The amendment reflects the following changes. Recognition of carryover funds due to closing out the previous fiscal year. Recognition of final 25-26 consolidated planning grant allocations. That's our federal grant. Recognition of final 25-26 SB1 Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant formula allocations. That's one of our state grants. Recognition of one employee returning to the health insurance plan. Recognition in the change of assigned staff hours to various work elements and adjustments to some of the line items due to actual costs incurred. Staff recommends approval and I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McNeil. At this time, I'll ask my commission if there's any other comments or questions for Mr. McNeil. Sure. Any members of the public wishing to make a comment?
Seeing none online.
Okay. Close public comment. This is a action item.
Move to approve. Second.
Second.
All right, so I'm going to take that as a move to approve from Commissioner Rogers, second from Commissioner Poitras. Is that okay? Because there was a lag time on the.
There you go.
All right, so with that, Sandy, can you please take roll?
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachariah,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Right, so moving on to MCTC sitting as the Madera County 2006 Transportation Authority. Item 9, these are the administrative consent items. Before we take that motion, I'll ask if there's any member the commission wishing to pull this item. If not, I'll open it up for public comments. Seeing none, bring it back. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
We do have a motion from Commissioner McCauley, second from Commissioner Rogers. All those in favor?
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Commissioner Zachariah,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, moving on to item 10, authority action discussion items. Item 10A, consider adoption of an ordinance implementing and imposing a and use tax to be administered by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration Ordinance number 2025-01. Mr. McNeil.
Yes, if you're having a little bit of deja vu, then you're probably correct. This item did come before the board last month at the September board meeting. Due to noticing requirements, staff is bringing this item back to the board. All noticing requirements have now been met, and staff recommends that the board waive the second reading and adopt ordinance number 2025-01.
Thought I had deja vu. Did you just bring this back not too long ago? Thank you. With that, I will open it up for any comments or questions. Okay, I'll open it up to public.
Seeing none online.
Seeing none, hear none, we'll close public comment, and we have an action item here, so I'll entertain a motion. Okay, we do have a motion to approve from Commissioner Zachariah, second from Commissioner McCauley. Sure. Sandy, can you take roll?
Commissioner Zachariah,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers.
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Right, so moving on to item 10B. Okay. This is a Measure T renewal update. Mr. McNeil.
Yes, this is just to provide a brief verbal update on some of the activities and progress being made with the Measure T renewal. Hired a consultant to help with the drafting of the implementing guidelines. That was kind of our next step now that we have an approved ordinance and plan. And we are in the final stages of doing an internal review and working with internal staff, but also with your staff at your local agencies. And once the internal review is completed, we will release it for the public for a review period. At our November board meeting next month, we plan to have a public hearing in regards to the implementing guidelines. And then we anticipate bringing the implementing guidelines to this board in January at our January meeting for approval. Also, we've had some preliminary discussions with the Department of Tax and Fee Administration. We'll need new agreements with them for this new tax or this renew tax with the Citizens Initiative. And we also have been receiving questions and comments regarding the new Citizens Oversight Committee. And just as a reminder, there is a different makeup of the committee versus what is currently existing. And so it will be a new committee. And we will be tackling that and what that's going to look like and how it will transition into that sometime next year. I've had some preliminary discussions with the current COC chair. Well, we're going to have some other discussions on that, and we look forward to receiving comments from the public and from the board on transitioning to a new Citizens Oversight Committee. So those are my updates. I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McNeil. At this time, I'll open it up to my commission.
Quickly, thank you, Chair. As far as the Citizens Oversight Committee goes, I understand restructuring But is their scope of responsibility going to be kind of the same, or is there thoughts about expanding upon that? I know I've made some comments in the past, and I've had some conversations about what that could look like. I've expressed some thoughts about what they're doing at the Air District and their advisory committee and how that functions in providing, recommendations around policy to the Air District Board. And I think there are opportunities for this commission or this board to engage in similar activities and really get buy-in from, different communities. So is that something we're looking at, or are we, do we have an expectation that it's going to be kind of different makeup, same responsibilities?
That's a great question. One of the things we have to look like is what was approved by voters, what was in the expenditure plan and the ordinance. So that is our kind of our guiding document. In the new expenditure plan, there are some enhanced provisions. One of them is just changing the makeup of the board itself and how those members are selected. So it's a little bit different process. And so that should help alleviate some concerns about, if you want to call it, cherry picking, hand picking from the board members, hand picking who they want to put on there. It'll be a different process. The other thing is, in there, they have the option also to hire an additional auditor or reviewers or other consultants or contractors to review any sort of documents or audits in addition to what we've already been doing. So as required by law, we have to have an independent auditor already come in and do a financial statement audit. They look at, are funds being spent appropriately according to the plan? Are all the accounting and financial policies being followed? So that will continue. And so they'll have an opportunity to increase that if needed. If there's a need to, they can do that. The other thing is that something that's new that we currently don't have is they're going to be able to adopt their own bylaws, and they will do that. That was one of the first tasks that they'll tackle. So in those bylaws, that's probably where you'll see some additional language or processes to enhance things. We can explore some of the things that you mentioned, and we are, considering those or at least thinking about them. We just have to make sure that everything that we do is consistent with the approved plan and ordinances approved by voters. So if as long as it's consistent with that, then I think anything could be considered.
And I think the comments that I've received from residents in the area are more of a desire, actually more frustrations, and this largely has come from people that have participated in the committee. Frustrations that they don't feel like there's actually an opportunity to contribute or provide feedback, because it's really we're looking backwards in many instances, right? And I think what folks are eager to be involved in is more of a forward-looking approach. How can I be involved in the planning process and the decision-making process? And I think there is an opportunity for that if this board commission wants that. And it doesn't have to be exclusive to Measure T. I think we can think more broadly about participation and where we can encourage people to come in and be involved in the process, because I understand, that it can be more work. And I think what I've always preached is, sometimes it's more work up front, but on the back end, when we have, educated residents and constituents, people that understand what is actually going on and why we're making these decisions, the work on the back end becomes lessened. And I think that would ultimately be the goal, is more involved, more informed, better voters. So that way, next time we come around for an initiative, we have that buy-in already built in. And so maybe it's a broader conversation, not exclusive to Measure T. Maybe it's something more involved with, our robust activities.
If I may, just to add to that, so I have received those similar, comments or frustrations, and what we remind them is all the projects are determined at the jurisdiction level. And so we always encourage them to participate at that level, to go to the different board meetings or council meetings, talk with the public works staff. And that has happened, but that's really where the decisions as far as what projects are done and what the projects look like are done. And basically, when it gets to the authority, it's more of, are we going to approve to fund it, basically, right? To bless, to use the measure funds or other funds on it. But as far as the deciding which projects, and that's what I hear about, is they want to have a say in the projects. And that has always been done at the jurisdictional level. And so is there a way to improve that process? Yeah, something we need to explore.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Poitras.
Yes, thank you, Chair. After Troy's comments, I just wanted to add in, I appreciated that he mentioned that because it I've just found it amazing the inordinate amount of attention that was paid to Measure T, and even now with excuse me, Measure C in Fresno, by all these groups, when it represents just a small percentage of the overall money that is spent on transportation. Maybe not a very small, but it's small compared to the vast majority of money that is spent on road projects that we hear nothing from the public. So I just find it amazing. It's like we'll pass, our major capital projects budget here and there, and yet it's the focus is on Measure T, which is dictated exactly what Troy said by the jurisdiction. So I think that the efforts need to be made by the jurisdictions to educate people that they realize that Measure T is not it's the tail, it's not the dog, and it doesn't wag the dog. And they need to really sit down and talk to their councilmen, their supervisors, their city managers, their public works people, and that's where the process starts for the projects, not Measure T and MCTC. Again, it's just amazing how groups like leadership and others totally focus on Measure T when it's just like, what are you people doing? That's not where you start the process. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Poitras. Do we have anyone else looking to make a comment? If not, I was going to chime in and say I do appreciate both comments from Commissioner Poitras and McCauley. I think being just stewards of the public's money, we have to make sure that we add all these layers of oversight, right? I think the last thing we want is we want people to think that we're making decisions here, not only at MCTC, but to your point, these decisions are being made at the jurisdictions. One of the layers that we added, I know every jurisdiction went out on their own, we added an additional 30-day, especially when we're approving an expenditure plan, to make sure that we give room for public comments, that we're not just going out there and making decisions. Now, with regional projects, obviously, we may have some say-so, but nevertheless, that's why there's these oversights committees there, so that they can kind of provide us as an advisory group on what's best, right? But I do appreciate the comments. Thank you again. And I can't say how happy I am to know that not only do local jurisdictions have more control of some of those dollars and where they place them, but that we have money, that we will have future money to be able to take care of what's important for the people, which is roads. Just patching up holes and fixing roads, sidewalks, what have you, active transportation, all those things are very important to our communities, although we're different regions or we're still have constituents that we have to respond to. And a lot of that is in regards to safety, transportation, roads, and potholes.
If I had just one last closing comment. So I just remembered the other day I received an email, and in it says, who decides where Measure T dollars goes? And the email and the question came from, they saw the sign on Avenue 12 of, Measure T, your sales tax dollars fixing your roads. And so it prompted the question, like, oh, Measure T can help fix roads. Well, who decides where, which projects get thing? And so basically the information I just relayed, I relayed the same information in email to this individual that was reaching out. And so that's a good example of, you know, we can do a better job of educating and informing the public on, you know, who does make the decisions, where does the process start, how can they be involved, and it's not necessarily on this side of things, but more we need to educate people that's on the beginning side, on your side.
Yes, thank you, Mr. McNeil, and that's very important. I think to Supervisor Porteous's deal is that we can do a better job also at our council meetings to explain to people how these funds are allocated. We have a 5-year plan for our capital improvements. Here's how we're going to utilize them. But we ultimately have a decision of how we're going to implement those dollars into our projects. And we can certainly do a better job there. I'll make sure that when we go back, you know, we're always keen in on these little conversations that we have, so that we're continuously not only updating our council. Councilmember Zachariah is now tasked on doing that, so he'll remember everything we said today, and then letting our public know exactly. And I'm sure you will all do the same with your jurisdiction. So, if there's any no other comments,
Yeah,
and
I just make a comment. I think it's important that people from every district and each city see results from Measure T. I think it's really important. And I believe that it's incumbent on us to tout those results. The county has a new PIO. He's really effective at telling stories. We just had a video that's gone national. It's gone ballistic. I mean, viral out there. Viral's the word, right? You know. But anyway, my point is that people are busy in their lives. You know, they're just trying to make ends meet. They're working, you know, late hours. And what time they have left, they want to spend with their family, and they don't always plug into what's going on with roads. And all they know is they drive over the road and it's bumpy as heck, you know, and it irritates them, because they pay a lot of taxes, and it's frustrating to them when things aren't working well. And I get it, you know, I feel the same way. We're in the same boat. We all pay taxes too. And, but when we do something well, we need to tell that story. So they're like, oh yeah, that's my road. That's my neighborhood. And they don't always get that, see? And, but we also need to make sure that we're addressing those different areas and their needs. Because I know in District 2, I have a huge district. It runs from one end of the county to the other, as 99 flies. And there are a lot of roads out there that are not due to the desire. We have the desire, we just don't have the money. And we've got to plug into those areas.
Mr. Chair, if I may add, in the Citizens Initiative measure, additional funding will be for public outreach as well, like educating the public on where taxpayer money has been spent. Also, just to tag on to the previous conversation, our role here is to help facilitate any kind of discussion. We don't mind getting those emails or calls, because the average citizen out there has no idea. It's so complex. Half the people don't know the difference between a city and a county and jurisdictions and such. And so when we get those calls, we try to help facilitate a conversation, or at least pass on the information to who is best fit for that particular question. And I know the county does a good job. You have the 511 system and stuff like that. And so same holds true. We're partners in a team together, so working together.
We
trying to
represent the same people over and over again. We're all. I even have part of the city of Madera now. I mean, it's we're all working for the same people. This is our family, you know. This is our family, and we want to do well for our family, and we want them to know what we're doing well. So, you know, do the best we can.
Thank you again, Commissioner Rogers. I will tell you that when people come to me and ask me, well, who represents me in a county, it's a good compliment, and I'll give those to Commissioner Poitras. I'm out of cards on the other one, though. I mean, whenever they tell me who represents me in the
Yeah.
back comment, then I just say supervisor. I'm just kidding. No,
I exchanged the favor too, though, but I've told people, what, if you want to get something done, call Jose Rodriguez. We'll get it done.
I'll tell you, Supervisor Rogers, thank you. I think you certainly, hit the nail on the head in saying that, we are working together and we want to make sure that we convey that message. But to what Commissioner McCauley said is that we can also, and in broader terms, we can certainly, do other things that can certainly highlight what we're doing. I appreciated Commissioner Rogers' deal in maybe promoting, maybe having something out there, a video that says, hey, Measure T at work. And the fact that you got a call that was directed to Troy in regards to Measure T, who's handling these things, right? Well, it's good because that tells you that Measure T is at work. So if we can highlight that in some, do you need another billboard or are you good?
No, my billboard's down.
I think to that point,
Took it down yesterday.
social media is the form of communication now. I mean, it is podcasters and all that stuff. They're right at the fingertips. And whatever they can get with their phone, they will watch it. They will see it. And not that signs are wasted. That signs are a good thing. I mean, they're driving down, they might see Measure T. They might not even understand, though. There's usually so much wording on those signs. They don't have the time to look, and hopefully they're not reading it too much because they might run into somebody in front of them. But my whole point is that we need to meet people where they're at, and where they're at, it's right here. Social media. We just had a post that went viral nationally. I've had 95,000 views on some of my posts. That's a lot of views. That's it's got to be outside of our county. It can't be all County Madera. But that's a lot of views. And our PIO is quite effective at that. That's what he does. And so if we need to, I don't know how it would work for us utilizing him. I know his time is pretty well eaten up, but something like that is so effective that it's beyond belief.
Point taken. So
Yeah.
maybe something to consider.
Yeah.
Future that would be great.
Some already ideas, so yeah, thank you.
Thank you again, Commissioner Rogers. At this time, not sure if there's any other comments. Meanwhile, I'll open it up for public comment.
Being on a line.
Okay, close public comment. Commissioner Ahmed, did you want to say something? Because I've been seeing you back to like you wanted to say something.
No, I don't have anything to say. Thank you.
Watch it close.
So with that, we'll move on to other items. Number 11, miscellaneous items from staff.
Yes, I have a couple of items, or a few items. It was mentioned by Alec earlier that the California Transportation Commission was in Merced on October 15th, or actually 16th and 17th. And so a couple of the commissioners were interested in seeing the road diet project on State Route 145. And so with the work of Caltrans District 6, thank you very much, they pulled together a group of us, a team of us to take those three commissioners. We went from Merced to downtown Madera, but along the route, District 6 prepared a packet that outlined projects in Merced and also Madera County. And so we highlighted State Route 233 and the roundabout project, that future project, the 17 to 21 State Route 99 project, and also discussed there was questions about future development, the casino going in. So they were asking questions about that. We made our way down to 145. It was well received. Downtown Association was there. The owner of the Mexican restaurant was there. We had an intimate conversation. We had three commissioners, former Caltrans District 6 director, the District 6 director, and others. And so it was a great conversation. So we had a conversation, talked about the project, talked about the partnerships, went back out, walked it, and of course, showed them where the basements are as well. So that was somewhat interesting for them to see is the basements. And then walked to the housing project in the city of Madera, talked about that. They looked at the bulb outs and so it was really informative for them because they got to see it before. And then we encouraged them to come and attend the groundbreaking and see the after as well. I mean, one commissioner said he was teary-eyed listening and talking to some of the people in downtown Madera about what their vision is. And so he was really touched by it. And then on the drive back, we reiterated some of the projects moving forward along the State Route 99. And so just wanted to share that with you. And another item I wanted to mention is back in your consent package, item 4-1, it mentions the interregional improvement program. I was hoping to be able to kind of tag on to that today and was hoping that it would have been released by now, but it's not released. It's will be released soon. Just to let you know that we are hoping to see, and we feel good about it, that State Route 99, 17 to 21 will be recommended for design and right of way. And if so, and if not, there's some public hearings next week, starting October 30th, and then again on November 7th. There's the state's split in half. So there's a south hearing and there's a north hearing. So in the north hearing, we would like to present to the California Transportation Commission in support of whatever is written into the interregional improvement program. There may be another project related to managed lanes as well, but I don't have that information in front of me to share yet, but that should be released any minute now. We've been waiting anxiously to see that. Another item is Caltrans, as it was mentioned in the previous meeting, has a new director, Director El Tawanzi. And we met with her virtually just to kind of do a meet and greet, build a rapport, and share our priorities with her. And then we also invited her to come out and see it and, drive our area. We welcome her to come visit us. And again, talked about how close our partnership is with District 6 and looked forward to working with her. So we welcomed her. And then I just wanted to add our next meeting date is November 19th. In case if that's not on your calendar, to add that on the calendar for November 19th. And that's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director Taylor. Any other items from staff? If not, then we'll move on to items from Caltrans.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. To piggyback off of what Director Taylor was saying about the 145 tour with the CTC, and I'm going to focus very specifically on the 145 Downtown Madera project. Director Navarro wanted me to extend his sincere thanks to both the city and to Director Taylor for the coordination and the effort that went into that. It was very well received, and I think it was a fantastic representation of our partnership, and it showcased what I think is going to be a transformative project. In my former life, it was the environmental senior for that project. So when you say basement, it makes me cringe a little bit on the inside because there were a lot of issues with that. But we're very proud of that project and our partnership. So again, Director Navarro really wanted me to extend his sincere thanks to everybody involved in that. So it was fantastic. Also, as Director Taylor mentioned, we are waiting for the ITIP. I think you've seen me check my phone a couple of times. We're expecting it any minute now. I think I've been saying that for about a week.
Yeah.
I talked to Director Navarro on the way here and I said, hey, have you seen the ITIP? And he thought that I was asking if he'd actually seen it since it was out now. And so now, again, we're all looking forward to seeing that. So Madera's going to be going to the hearing in the north in November.
In the north, yes.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So you got the date right. I think it's in Suisun City.
Yes.
Perfect. Couple of other general announcements. IJA is set to expire September of next year. In advance of future congressional action, Caltrans and CalSTA are developing a subgroup, working group committee that is scheduled to meet on November 18th. The purpose of this group meeting is so that we have a collective voice. So if you're interested in that, you can find the information for that on the CalSTA webpage for the IJA reauthorization. Something that I'm sure is on a number of folks' radar right now is this interim final rule on the DBE program and some of the changes that we're seeing with contracting and DBE goals. There was a webinar that Caltrans hosted a few weeks ago. If you missed it, the California Local Technical Assistance Program, also known as CalTAP, will be posting it on their YouTube page. I looked yesterday and it wasn't there yet, so I'm keeping an eye out on it. So just keep an eye on the CalTAP YouTube page to see that in social media and the weight that it carries. Yeah. One more general announcement. Caltrans does what's called Local Assistance Day. It's a quarterly webinar that is coming up on November 4th. It's going to be 8:30 to 11:30. It's free to our local partners. It's a really great opportunity to learn information and share with your sister agencies. Some of the topics at this quarter's meeting are going to include the Buy America final rule. We're also going to be talking about the DBE interim final rule once again, and some latest updates from the Caltrans Division of Local Assistance. And you can register for that on the CalTAP website. We are having our last virtual office hour regarding the Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program. That's going to be tomorrow on October 23rd. It's at 3 o'clock. If you're not available for the virtual office hours, reach out to myself, and we're more than happy to do a one-on-one with you. As mentioned, the 99 CMCP is coming. We absolutely anticipate that to be done by the end of the month. I'm looking at Alec because that's Alec's baby. And as Alec presented on the 145 corridor plan, if you would like for us or Alec to come back out and present the findings of the 99 CMCP, we would be more than happy to do that. All right, so for some project updates, the South Madera 6 lane, we are working with the railroad for final approval, and this is all that we've got left to achieve our right-of-way certification. I think the Director Navarro updated you and Supervisor on that one today. The North Madera 6 lane project, there's been no change on that one. We're still in P&ED. We're targeting the end of that April of 2028 with RTL coming in 2031. Downtown Madera CAP-M project, the road diet, begin construction is targeting May of 2026, again, after the city water project is complete. We do anticipate doing a significant groundbreaking for that project as well. State Route 99 233 interchange improvement project. The supplemental project report is expected to be ready for circulation by the end of this month. Once we have the updated right-of-way data sheet, headquarters is going to initiate the review of the freeway agreement upon approval of the supplemental project report, and the right-of-way team is awaiting approval of the freeway agreement before initiating the acquisition process. So one thing after another, all kind of tied together. Madera South Expressway, no change on that project. We're anticipating advertising later this year. Construction will be early 2026 to fall of 2027. Chowchilla CAP-M project, no change on that one. RTL is still targeting the spring of next year. And that is it. That was an easy one.
Appreciate that. Is there any questions or comments from my commission?
I have a quick comment on the State Route 233. There's a lot of community buzz about 233, and not necessarily the interchange project, but there are some transportation problems stemming from early morning traffic coming out of Green Hills, late evening traffic coming out of Green Hills, and the school route there. And I think does 233 actually stop at the south side of the freeway, or does it? Sure. I mean the west end.
Not sure.
Okay, if you could look into that.
Yeah. Is it out of Green Hills?
Yeah, coming out of Green Hills, there's a stop sign there. There probably should be a stop light there because the traffic is backed up quite a ways. Due to this, you've got the school right there, and you've got Cornerstone churches on one side, and then you've got Green Hills, and it just begins to pile up right there at that stop sign because there's a lot of energy in the morning and afternoon on that particular area. And so I've seen a lot of buzz about that online.
We'll look into that.
And then the other thing, I had mentioned to you the last time we had a meeting here about 152 and a possibility of a designated truck route off of the freeway, signage specifically using 233, and instead like they're using Road 16.
Yeah, I thought that we responded to you on that.
Oh, I didn't see that. Maybe you did. I may have missed it. I get thousands of emails. But the reason I bring this up, just recently, we had an officer killed, as you're probably aware. Raymond Brontes, God bless him and his family. Just a horrible accident, but it was due to a truck coming across 233 on Road 13. And this kind of, I've talked to dozens of people. This is not an uncommon occurrence, and it's a dangerous occurrence because a lot of times they don't know what they're going to do. Either they're going straight across or they're turning into a lane, and their trailer rig at night is sticking out on the opposite lane that the opposite lane that they're crossing already, but their trailer rig is sticking out there and you can't see it. And it's dark in those corridors. So there needs to be something done in regards to the safety of that region where trucks either are prohibited from crossing like that or entering like that, except in specific areas where it's, I don't know how you would.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go
how
back
you would enforce it.
through my emails because this is ringing a bell. I think you wanted to restrict trucks on Road 13.
Yeah.
Is the idea,
Well,
and that's something out of Caltrans.
Well, actually, it was Road 16.
It was Road 16.
But this goes deeper to the heart of the matter, and that is the reason it's such a. I mean, it's so frequent on Road 16 doing that. That's a much more open and better lit area, and there is an interchange plan for that through HSR. But this truck's entering 152, especially at night, is just lethal. And it's happened over and over again. I don't know if I can count the number of times now that I've had this conversation with different people, but the fatalities are mounting up. There was one on, I want to say Road 9. And then this one was Road 13, and there was one on Road 11. I mean, I'm just in my tenure, I'm counting bodies.
Yeah, I think that the response to that was that we don't have control over the local roads and prohibiting truck traffic.
Right.
I don't know what we could do to stop trucks from your local.
Yeah, I don't know how you would go about it. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
You know.
I think the question he had, it was regarding, is there something that Caltrans has that in any of those roads there that are related to that, especially off the 152? So maybe that's something you can get back to them on that. And you said you may have sent them something too, right?
Thought that maybe we did, but it probably is more closely related to prohibiting truck traffic on local roads. Because that is what's really standing out, is that a question did come up about can we prohibit trucks?
There 233 is a designated truck route. I know that for a fact. But instead of they're using Road 16 to 233 is what's happening. Maybe we could look at, and I don't know, this is probably in our purview, Jared and some of our people are here today, but look at some kind of an ordinance, prohibiting truck traffic on, I don't know how you do that from an industrial park though.
So what we can do, we can have Commissioner Rogers maybe talk to you in regards to that, a bit more intimate on that, especially if it has relations, anything related to.
I'm just interested in solving.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. items from Caltrans at this time. We'll see if anyone else has any questions or comments for Mr. Gunn.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Poitras.
I just like to, if you're ready for commissioner reports, my phone's about ready to die. So is it okay if I make my report now?
Rob, if you could just hold on a minute.
We'll run ahead, Commissioner Poitras. I think we're done with Caltrans, right? So we can move on to commissioner reports. And before your battery dies, Commissioner Poitras, go right ahead.
All right, thank you. Yeah, first of all, I attended a Highway 99 coalition meeting last Friday. Got back into this. We met Commissioner Director Taylor was there, as well as our friends from Tulare, Merced counties, and we discussed a lot of these issues and different projects and timing and things of that sort. So I thought that was a very helpful meeting. And then the other thing is, next Monday, there's a group of us that are going to be going to a CalCog meeting. And I just want to let those know who need rides that my bus is leaving at 6:45 a.m. from the county garage, 6:45 a.m. And the county riders are already aware of that. So just wanted to let everybody know, because I think there might be one or two. I know, Chair, you yourself will be going. So that's my, so this way I don't have to call everybody. Everybody knows now. So thank you.
6:45.
That's my report.
You made that clear. Thank you again, Commissioner Poitras. At this time, I'll ask to see. I'll start. Commissioner Ahmed, did you have anything to add? You're muted.
No, I don't have anything to add because I respect his phone. I don't want him to die.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Commissioner McCollum. Commissioner Zachariah, and I have nothing to report. Okay, moving on to item 12. I believe that's no session, but thank you again for making it out. As our director had mentioned, our next meeting is scheduled for November 19th. See you here at 3 o'clock. With that, we'll now move to adjourn this meeting.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.